More than 2 months after the collapse of the IT systems at Ulster Bank, which left 600,000 of its customers without access to funds for close to a month, the bank today announced plans to compensate the affected customers. Amongst the measures that the bank is including is a 25 euro one-off payment to people who were forced to visit the bank branches over the course of the 4 or 5 weeks that the computer systems were down. It's also offering to give people to cover reasonable expenses, out-of-pocket expenses of affected customers, up to a limit of 120 euros. It's going to freeze certain charges on the affected customers' accounts for a period of 3 months. It's going to give them a small amount of additional interest on savings accounts, and it has committed to not introducing maintenance fees for current account holders until June of 2013. So broadly speaking, they are the main measures. They've also offered to give people a free credit rating check to make sure that their credit rating hasn't been affected, which would obviously be a great concern. But before we get the bunting out in connection with that, it should be remembered that a credit check costs a £5. So that's the kind of fee that we're talking about. So I think a lot of the bank's customers will be disappointed at the level of compensation that is being offered, but at this stage it's hard to see what they can do. In the middle of June, people started noticing that their accounts were not being updated online, and then over a period of 24 hours it became manifest that there was a huge problem at the bank and at its parent company in the Royal Bank of Scotland. What had happened was there was an IT centre in Edinburgh that was running an update of the accounts for 3 different banks: NatWest, the Royal Bank of Scotland and Ulster Bank. There was a software malfunction, and the account details of hundreds of thousands of people who bank with Ulster Bank were effectively erased. As a result, the bank had to try and rebuild those customer profiles, and it started taking longer and longer, and there was these backlogs, and it just meant that the system didn't work at all for a period of more than a month. Now, the bank was questioned quite extensively by an Oireachtas committee as to how it couldn't have any kind of backup systems and how something so fundamental to banking could go so badly wrong. And to date, we still have no answers as to what happened. Now, the bank has said that it's carrying out an internal investigation, and when that investigation is completed, we will know a little bit more about it. But as of yet, nobody really understands how they could have got it so disastrously wrong. Well, one of the great tragedies for the bank, and I use the word tragedy loosely, is that it was one of the few banks that did not have to be bailed out by the state to the tune of billions of euros. So it was arguably one of the better banks, but it has done untold damage to its reputation as a result of the catastrophic computer failure at its systems headquarters in Edinburgh. Now, to be fair, a lot of the customers of the bank that I've spoken to have said that they've got it wrong, they've now fixed the problem, and we're going to continue banking with them. So there was a big fear in the early stages of the process that you would see an awful lot of people just leaving the bank in disgust, but that actually hasn't happened. Now, one of the reasons for that obviously is consumer lethargy, and people know that it's quite difficult to change banks, so most people are saying, sure, they're all the same, I'll stick with what I know.